Hey guys, it's Ryan here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we're doing another manga review. We're looking at Chain Soldier again, and today we're looking at two different training arcs that are really short, so I'm just going to put them together as a singular training arc. I guess you could call it Intersquad training, right? So the first one is 52 to 54, so 3-chapter arc, and then the next one is 55 to 57, so it's another 3-chapter arc. They're not significant enough to do separate videos on, so that's why I'm doing it here today as one video, right? So let me give you the book facts real quick, and then we'll get right into the review here. So the author here is Takahiro, and Yohei Takemura is the artist, and these guys are amazing. I think their work together is fantastic. I think it's is it the greatest manga ever? No. But these two guys together managed to make a manga that is immensely entertaining and has a lot of great artwork to it. So, like, the entertainment value that you get out of this may be higher than some other manga, even though, like, the hype or maybe the love that you might feel for the series is probably lower than other manga, right? Especially if you're comparing it to, like, your basic battle shonen, right? So yeah, this is published by Yen Press, and this is what the spines look like on these volumes. And the demographic here is shonen. The genre here is action, dark fantasy, and I guess you could call it an ecchi manga as well, because that is a pretty prominent aspect. But I rarely put it in the genre section just because I don't think it's necessarily like the main crux, right? And in terms of adaptation, it does have one. I don't know if it's any good or not, but I've heard good things about it. I just have not watched it personally, right? So yeah, and the rating for both of these arcs is 5 out of 5. It does what it needs to do perfectly. There are no problems with it whatsoever, and it is enjoyable to read, right? So yeah, these arcs are contained in Volume 7 and Volume 8. Volume 7 is about half of the volume here, and for Volume 8, it's about a fourth of it, as you guys can see right there, up to that red line. And yeah, the premise here is basically that after the Commander's Assembly, or the Chief's Assemblies is what it was called, all of the different squads have to work together and practice with each other, and we focus in on Squad 7 as they practice with 2 other squads, right? So they practice with the 6th squad and then with the 5th squad. So that's basically what this arc is about. So in terms of the plot line here, it basically starts at Squad 7's house. Squad 6 arrives. They chat a little bit, right? Squad 6 is led by Tenka. And then Squad 5 arrives, but they don't arrive like by walking or going through a portal. They literally arrive via tornado. And there's this really fun kind of initial interaction, or like kind of like a title card, I guess you could call it, where the girls in Squad 5, appear out of the tornado in a really fun, cute pose, and we get explained to us that the tornadoes are Yokumo's powers. And Yokumo's a bit of a tease. She's the girly lesbian character that I mentioned last time, and she teases everyone. You could argue that maybe she's harassing them, but the story plays it as a joke, as a gag. And so it wouldn't be fair to categorize it that way, right? Even though some people, especially us Westerners, would read it and be, think that that's what it is. But it's not really that important. Himari practices with Saki, who apparently is the lady that taught her, or that allows her to use her powers. And so they train with her special Gatling gun thing in order to get better at it, right? Where the rest of them find compatible partners and continue to train with each other, right? Then we get a kind of transition portion here where all the girls are in the bath just having fun, and Yakumo ends up being tied up. She's eventually freed, but while she's tied up, she interacts with Yuki, and later Yuki and Yakumo have to work together, even though Kyoka doesn't want to share Yuki with anyone outside of her squad anymore. And they unlock a new form for him, and it turns out that this form is called Phoenix Wings. I'm not really sure why it's called Phoenix Wings. It should have been called something else, right? Because Phoenix implies fire, and he doesn't have fire. Maybe it would have been called something like Angelic Wings or something like that, but it's not really all that important. Basically, we have this awesome flying scene, very reminiscent of Harry and Hermione on Buckbeak, or any other flying scene that you can think of, like first flight kind of moments, right? And it's really awesome. It also comes with an awesome reward for Yuki. Then Yakumo teases him. She says that he can join her harem even if he is a boy, which is something she's never allowed before, right? And it's pretty ridiculous. Yakumo ends up just being like the pervert character that kind of was that you would expect from a Japanese ecchi series, but hadn't been given to us just yet, and so she fills that role, but she's a lot more endearing than, say, Mineta or something like that, right? And we transition over to the Gods of Destruction, and we get to see them hanging out and just kind of getting along. We get introduced to Kutetsu, who is the character that hatched earlier in the story, and we show off her powers here. Apparently, she has some sort of unlimited growth potential, and so she gets stronger and stronger the more she exists. And she takes on the personality of the two girls that she ate. I can't remember their names right now, but so she's a bit different and more, much more of a person than the other Gods of Destruction. So that's pretty interesting. We see that Yuki and Kyoka get called to Ren's house, Ren being the Supreme Commander of the Defense Corps. And Yuki is forced to interact with her and use his powers with her, right? And so they unlock another form. This one is called Killer Fang, and it's a berserker, like, dark power. And I guess this is because there's something more to Ren's powers, or it's because it's a dark reflection of her powers. I'm not really sure, but it's really awesome. He basically becomes like a Cerberus type character because of this, right? And he tries to fight Ren. He doesn't want to be under her control. Maybe this is due to Kyoka's influence. I'm not really sure. And she fights him back, and then his form eventually times out. And when this happens, she actually becomes humiliated because due to the nature of Kyoka's powers, that she has to reward him for being in this form, right? And because he was basically the form was too dark for him, he gets like a really powerful reward in return, and he ends up treating Ren like a pet, which is how she was treating him, right? And it was pretty crazy. It was pretty fun. A certain community might really appreciate this. I thought it was funny. I thought it was enjoyable, but it wasn't necessarily something that I particularly enjoyed. Like it wasn't like for me specifically, right? But it was pretty fun. It was pretty interesting, and it's something that wouldn't be kind of too out of place in something like Konosuba, right? So overall, this was a pretty good plot line. I enjoyed it. I think this is mostly just a transitionary chapter for us to learn more about these new characters, right? Then, in terms of characters, we get introduced to Yakumo properly. She's really funny. I really enjoy her character, but like I said, certain people might have issues with her depending on their personal, situations, right? Ren is an amazing goddess level, like, person, right? She's just, like, amazing at everything. She's a genius. She's amazing. She's awesome. And she's very powerful. But she has this knack for treating others as pets, and this comes to bite her in the ass when she is humiliated by the reward system that Kyoka uses in her powers, right? And then it seems like Kyoka's jealous of using or of letting others use Yuki. I think that she has grown attached to him, and she doesn't like having to deal with other women being attached to him as well. So it's kind of interesting. It's not necessarily like good, as long as, like, if it's not treated properly and it just kind of keeps itself as a low-level gag, I think it should be fine. But if it tries to escalate beyond that, and I don't think Takahiro is going to do this, but if it does end up escalating beyond that, it might be a problem, because by having this jealous character and not playing it as a gag, you basically turn the story into like something that it probably shouldn't be, which is like this like sad romance kind of drama. And I don't think that that's really what this story is about, right? So I hope that this stays as a general light gag, right? Or she comes to accept that, because of his powers and because of his usability, he's just going to interact with a lot of female characters that might like him as well, right? So yeah, we'll see what happens here. In terms of world building, we get to see that Yuki gets 2 new forms. We get to see that the squads are now practicing together, which is something they rarely did before. And we get to see that the gods, the Thunder Gods or Gods of Destruction, I can't remember their title, are going to go get the last one of them that hasn't risen yet. And so I'm curious to see what that is. I don't know. The next arc doesn't really deal with that, so I think it's just going to be like a slow thing that develops in the background. And that's pretty exciting. So yeah, in terms of artwork and fan service, it's amazing. There really is nothing to say that I haven't said already. It's really awesome. It's really great, and both the fan service and the art are wonderful. And yeah, so ratings-wise, 5 out of 5. There really isn't too much going on here. It's mostly just downtime for the characters to interact with each other, but it manages to do that phenomenally and really well. So I really enjoyed it, and that's 5 out of 5 for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you thought down below, and see you guys in the next video. So goodbye.